She ran Hewlett-Packard. Now she wants to represent the country's most populous state. Brian Sullivan at the Milken Global Conference in Beverly Hills, joined for an exclusive interview by California Republican Senate candidate Carly Fiorina. Take it away, Brian.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. And she is indeed a fighter. She was a fighter at the corporate level. She's going to be a fighter if she wins. She's a fighter in the candidacy as well. If she makes it to the Senate, she'll be a fighter there. And she's also a personal fighter. I do want to start off by asking you, though, I know you are fighting breast cancer. It looks like you've, how are you feeling?
Well, I feel great. I've beaten breast cancer and out here on the campaign trail. Yes, sir.
That is fantastic.
I am one of the lucky ones.
You really are. And I know you've done a lot of advocacy work on that as well. I want to get that out, make sure you're feeling fine. Quick story. There was a story in the Wall Street Journal last week about the SEC probing Hewlett-Packard, your old company, for some alleged bribery activity involving the Russian government. Can you comment on that?
Well, I first learned about this reading it in the Wall Street Journal, and I welcome the investigation. I'm sure the company welcomes the investigation. Obviously, people need to get to the bottom of whatever happened over several years, it appears.
Yeah, and no knowledge, though.
No, absolutely
in
not.
California, no knowledge whatsoever.
No.
Okay, let's get to the Senate run. Coming from the airport, I saw a billboard for a local candidate for governor, David Benning. And the billboard, his slogan was, "Had enough of Waxman yet?" And I got the message. How much of the candidacy now becomes what you have to offer versus we're not the other guys?
Well, I do think people have had enough. I think that's clear. People have had enough of higher taxes, bigger government, thicker regulations, and fewer jobs. I also think, however, that people are tired of professional politicians, and they're ready for folks from the real world to go in and try and do something different. And you know, the things we know from the real world would help. How to create a job, how to cut spending. Those are pretty important things right now. And how to actually solve a problem instead of just talk about it.
Do you feel that your time at HP and also the other careers that you've had as you worked your way up the corporate ladder help you? I mean, a lot of criticism around the HP compact deal. Does it help you as a candidate to have that experience?
Of course it helps. And, you know, there was a lot of criticism about the compact deal at the time. The conventional wisdom was that AOL Time Warner was the great merger that would succeed. Guess what?
Whoops.
Conventional wisdom is frequently wrong. And the compact merger, by any measure, was absolutely the right thing to do. It saved the company during a difficult time, positioned it for success, and that experience is very relevant. Because what people want, I think, now is folks who are willing to make tough choices in tough times. There are a bunch of tough choices we have to make. I think they want people who will talk plainly, and I think truly people have had enough of Barbara Boxer and politics as usual.
But I'll tell you, it's getting ugly. I saw an ad from even a Republican running against Meg Whitman on TV here in Los Angeles, and there is this sort of, well, you're the moneyed elite, you're rich, you're part of that group.
Well, look, one of the things that happens sometimes in journalism, unfortunately, is everybody gets painted with the same brush. Meg Whitman is her own candidate. Steve Poizner, you're referring to, is his own candidate. I'm my own candidate, my own person. And what I'm focused on is the fact that the work of the U.S. Senate impacts every family, every business, every community in America. And if the Senate succeeds in passing something like Barbara Boxer's cap and trade bill, you were talking about energy in your previous segment, cap and trade will kill 3 million jobs in this country. It will cost us trillions of dollars in lost economic output. It won't help us become a leader in energy. So that's a bad idea, but we need different people in Washington if we're going to stop some of those bad pieces of legislation from moving forward.
How would you fix California? Because perhaps no state has the size of pension and union problems that California does.
Well, in California is the test case of what happens when government gets bigger and bigger, taxes get higher and higher, regulations get thicker and thicker, and public employees' pensions and benefits get richer and richer. Guess what? We're destroying more jobs than we're creating, and that's why California has a higher than average national unemployment rate. It's not just bad times, it's bad government policy. So we have to start reversing those things. We have to make government smaller and more effective in Washington.
But how do you
we have to lower
when
taxes.
The unions have so much power in the state of California?
Well, you start by defeating people like Barbara Boxer who are let us say, financed by the unions. Barbara Boxer believes in cap and trade. Barbara Boxer votes against free trade agreements. Barbara Boxer thinks card check is a good idea. Why? Because the unions think all those things are good ideas. So we have to get someone in Washington who is not beholden to the unions. I'm not. And I know where jobs come from. They come from lower taxes, less regulation, less government interference. That's what we got to do in Washington, D.C.
Carly Fiorina, and the best news of all is that you fought and you beat breast cancer.
Absolutely. Thanks, Martin. Great to be with you.
You have the name of your book in there a few times. Tough choices. I noticed that. Carly, thank you very much. Good luck.
Great to see you. Thanks,
Carly Fiorina, running for Senate for the state of California.
She looks great, Brian. Please tell her she looks absolutely wonderful. Yeah, Brian Sullivan, thank you very much. Great interview.
Thanks so much.